Cambodia and Thailand border conflict escalates. Death toll rises. When two neighbors turn into adversaries, the consequences can be devastating. Cambodia and Thailand are currently locked in a bitter border conflict that has claimed over 30 lives and displaced hundreds of thousands, with tensions escalating to their highest point in over a decade. But here's when it gets controversial. While both nations blame each other for sparking the violence, the real question is whether their leaders are prioritizing peace or political posturing. And this is the part most people miss. This isn't just a sudden clash. It's the latest chapter in a century-old territorial dispute that has simmered for generations. The situation has grown so dire that Cambodia's UN ambassador, Chea Keo, has demanded an unconditional ceasefire, calling for a peaceful solution to the crisis. Meanwhile, Thailand's foreign minister, Maris Sanjampongsa, has countered that Cambodia must first demonstrate genuine sincerity in ending hostilities before talks can proceed. This back and forth highlights a critical issue. Without mutual trust, even the most well-intentioned diplomatic efforts risk falling flat. The human cost is staggering. At least 32 people, soldiers and civilians alike, have been killed, with nearly 200,000 forced to flee their homes. Thailand has declared martial law in 8 border districts, while Cambodia reports 13 deaths and over 35,000 displaced. The fighting, now in its 3rd day, has spread to 12 locations, with heavy weapons and even drones entering the fray. Thailand accuses Cambodia of launching attacks near the southern coast, while Cambodia alleges Thailand used banned cluster munitions, weapons notorious for their indiscriminate harm to civilians. Thailand has yet to respond to these allegations, but the mere accusation alone raises serious ethical questions. International leaders are scrambling to intervene. Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who chairs ASEAN, has offered to mediate, while the US has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities. Yet Thailand's foreign minister has dismissed the need for third-party involvement, a stance that could either signal confidence in bilateral negotiations or a refusal to acknowledge the scale of the crisis. The roots of this conflict trace back to the 19th century, when colonial-era borders were drawn, after France's occupation of Cambodia. Over the years, sporadic clashes have erupted, but the current escalation began in May after a Cambodian soldier was killed. Now, with both sides accusing the other of violating prior agreements. Thailand claims Cambodian drones spied on their troops, while Cambodia insists Thai soldiers trespassed near a sacred Khmer Hindu temple. The situation teeters on the edge of full-scale war. As the world watches, one thing is clear. This isn't just about territory. It's about pride, history, and the fragile balance of power in Southeast Asia. But here's the real dilemma. Can two nations truly resolve a conflict that festered for over a century? Or are they doomed to repeat the same cycle of violence? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think third-party mediation is necessary? Or should Cambodia and Thailand handle this themselves? Share your perspective in the comments below. Cambodia-Thailand border clashes escalate. Civilians flee amidst artillery fire. Imagine a border dispute so intense that it forces thousands to flee their homes, leaving behind everything they know. This is the grim reality for Cambodians and Thais caught in the crossfire of a conflict that is reignited after years of simmering tension. But here's where it gets even more heartbreaking. As explosions echo along the border, families are torn apart, and soldiers lie wounded, awaiting urgent medical care. This isn't just a political standoff, it's a human crisis. In the province of Odamianche, Cambodia, the sound of distant explosions serves as a grim backdrop to the suffering of those directly impacted. A Cambodian soldier, injured by shrapnel from a Thai artillery shell, waits anxiously for surgery. Lying in a hospital corridor, his wife and son by his side, he recounts the chaos of the battle near the ancient Tamon Tom temple. "I have shrapnel in my back and it hasn't been removed yet," he tells Al Jazeera, his voice laced with urgency. "They took me to the military hospital first, but they didn't even have an X-ray machine." His clothes were torn from his body in the blast, a stark reminder of the brutality of war. Another soldier, injured near the Talkrabay Temple, shares a similar story of survival. Both temples, like many areas along the 800 kilometers, 500 miles border shared by these Southeast Asian neighbors, have long been flashpoints due to disputed territorial claims. And this is the part most people miss. These disputes aren't new. The last major clashes erupted in 2011 near the 11th century Preah Vihear Hindu temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site belonging to Cambodia. As of Saturday, the death toll has climbed to over 30, with most victims being civilians. In Cambodia, at least 13 people have been killed, while Thailand reports around 20 fatalities. Civilian infrastructure on both sides has been bombed, leaving communities in ruins. "We ran for our lives," says Teng Diab, a displaced Cambodian villager who fled her home just 5 kilometers, 3 miles from the border. Now, she and her children shelter in a primary school, surrounded by dozens of other families who've escaped the violence. "If the shooting continues, we'll keep moving," she adds, her voice trembling with uncertainty. For these displaced families, the struggle is far from over. Food supplies are dwindling, and the fate of their homes, livestock and farms, lifelines in Cambodia's impoverished border regions, hangs in the balance. Some have risked returning briefly to tend to their animals or retrieve belongings, despite the danger. "We have little food left," Cheng Diab laments. "If this continues, we'll have nothing to eat." At another shelter, the story is the same: limited government support and growing desperation. A local village chief reveals that residents are pooling rice and supplies to help one another. One woman, who wishes to remain anonymous, recalls her harrowing escape just before the fighting began. "Bombs started raining down while people were working in the fields," she says. "We couldn't take everything we needed." But here's where it gets controversial. Thailand accuses Cambodia of deliberately planting landmines in the disputed zone, while Phnom Penh denies this, claiming the mines are remnants of Cambodia's civil war in the 1980s and 1990s. Thailand has recalled its ambassador, expelled Cambodia's envoy, and declared martial law in 8 border districts. Cambodia, in turn, has pulled its diplomats and downgraded ties. Both sides blame each other for firing the first shots, and the conflict shows no signs of abating. The fighting has displaced approximately 140,000 Thais and 38,000 Cambodians across multiple provinces. Accusations fly back and forth, with Cambodia alleging Thailand's use of banned cluster munitions and Thailand claiming Cambodia as targeted civilian areas, including a hospital. Thailand's acting Prime Minister, Phumtham Wechayachai, suggests Cambodia may be committing war crimes, while Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Manet accuses Thailand of unprovoked, premeditated attacks. As both leaders point fingers, the question remains: can this cycle of violence ever be broken? What do you think? Is there a path to peace, or are these neighbors doomed to repeat history? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation that needs to happen.